Hello and welcome back to the Blender Basics video series. These videos are designed to accompany the chapters found in the Blender Basics tutorial book. So if you don't have a copy of the book, head on over to www.cdschools.org/blenderbasics to download a copy. This video is going to focus on Chapter 7, the lighthouse activity, where we're actually adding a light within the lighthouse. So let's get started. What I've done is I've started out by opening up my landscape scene with my lighthouse already appended into the scene. I've also created an empty and tracked my camera to it to make life a little bit easier. So remember to do this process, you hit your space bar, you add an empty, and then you would select your camera first. You would select the empty second, holding down your shift key, hit Control T, and then pick the track to constraints. I've put the empty in a good location. I wanted my lighthouse a little off center, and I have my camera down low like it's kind of on a boat on the water. So when I hit F12 and render a picture, this is what my scene currently looks like. Now, we're going to mess with lighting in this scene. So one thing you're going to want to do is probably keep one initial lamp in your scene, but you're going to want to play around with its brightness. So with that lamp selected now, I would go to my object data buttons for my lamp, which looks like a small lamp. It is a point light, and I adjusted the energy a little bit. If the energy was up at 1, remember we're trying to shoot for a dark and stormy night, and this might be a little bit too bright for our scene. Now later when we add some rain to this and we add some animation to it, you may want to do some fine adjustments with this scene, but I think if right now if I took the energy of my lamp down to about 0.5, I think it looks pretty good to start out with. It's a little darker, but if this is going to be a lighthouse, we're going to want a spotlight shining out of this lighthouse, and maybe even animated and spinning. So let's do that right now. In order to work in my scene a little bit better, I'm going to switch to wireframe view. I can do that by hitting the Z key or switching it down here in the bottom of the toolbar by switching between wire or solid. And again, the Z key on your keyboard does the same thing. So there's the Z key. We're into wireframe. I'm going to hit a number 1, a front view. I'm going to zoom in on the lighthouse a little bit, and I'm going to use my left mouse button to place the bullseye in the center of the lighthouse where I want my light to shine from. I'll look at it in both the number 1, the front view, and a number 3, a side view, to make sure I have it in a good location. We'll hit spacebar to add object menu, and I'm going to add a lamp, and this time I'm going to add a spotlight. Now by default the spotlight's going to shine straight down, and it's going to have a 45-degree cone. So while I'm in this front view yet, I'm going to hit R to rotate, and I'm going to rotate the camera so it's pointing out the direction I really want the spotlight to go. Right out the side. Okay, and it has a pretty big cone right now, so maybe what I'm going to do is narrow that cone down a bit. That is also in my object data buttons down here. I just need to scroll all the way to the bottom to spot shape. Okay, and there's a panel down here for spot shape. There's the 45-degree angle. And if you're following the recommendations in the Blender Basic book, you know, great. Make the cone be whatever you want it to be. Either follow the recommendations. I'm going to make mine pretty intense, pretty tight beam, so I'm going to take it down to about, 7 or 8 degrees right now on my spot shape. Now if I hit F12 to render a picture, you're still not going to see a light, because remember, a light only shows up when it's bouncing off of something. And really, we don't have a fog setting in here yet. So, in order to simulate a fog, we actually have a halo setting in the spot shape. And when I turn on halo, it basically simulates a foggy shape within the internal Blender render of Blender. And there it's going off the kind of the back right now. So, I'm going to escape out of it, switch to a number 7, a top view. And if I look at it, remember my camera's over here looking this direction. So while I'm in a number 7, a top view, I'm going to hit R to rotate. I'm going to rotate my camera so it's kind of pointed perpendicular to my camera. So now when I hit F12 and render a picture, it's going to look a lot nicer now. Now remember, with any lamp, you can control, if I go back up here to the top, you can control the distance that it shines, how bright it is, the energy of it, and even the color of it. So we'll go back down here. This is a pretty intense halo right now. If you notice, you have a halo and a halo intensity. Steps will soften the sides of the halo. If I take the intensity down a little bit, like to about 0.5, let's see what that looks like. And I hit F12 and re-rendered my picture. It's not going to look quite as harsh. So I'm going to go with that right now. We're going to stick with it. Now what looks really funny right now is we have a spotlight coming out of nothing. There's nothing in here right now to represent the spotlight. Another neat effect within the internal render engine of Blender is the halo material setting. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a plane, a mesh, and I'm going to delete everything but one vertex. So basically I'm creating a mesh with one vertex, and then we're going to put a material on it. So while my bullseye is already in the center of my lighthouse, I'm going to hit spacebar, add object, add mesh, plane. So I've added a plane right now. So there's that flat two-dimensional plane that I've just added. I'm going to enter edit mode. So if you remember, you can change object edit mode down here, or you can also hit the tab key to switch between edit mode and object mode. So if I select one vertex, hit the delete key, that one vertex will go away. That one vertex, and if I wanted to hold down the shift key and select two at a time, I can hit delete vertices and it's gone. So all I have left is one vertex. Let's switch back to a number 7, a top view, and I'm going to move that one vertex with the G key, put it right in the middle of my lighthouse scene so it's like right on the object's center point. Go back to object mode, again tab or change it down here. So now I have a mesh with one vertex, which basically means if I hit F12 to render it, you will see nothing, even if I had a material on it, because it's not even two-dimensional, it's no-dimensional. So let's take that vertex, let's go to the material buttons now. We're going to hit new for a new material, and even at this point if I hit F12 you still won't see anything. But if I change it from a surface material to a halo material and hit F12, it's going to basically be a glowing spot wherever there's a vertex. So now I've got a glow in the middle of it. That looks 100% better already, just having a glowing vertex. But things that I can do with this vertex, you can control its size, how big that little glowing spot will be, and I can add rings, lines, and stars to it. I'm just going to add rings. Actually, I'm just going to add a star tip first just to show you what that looks like. So when I hit F12, here I'll focus on that a little bit closer. When I hit F12 on this, now you've got kind of a 4-pointed star in there, kind of glowing out of it. I like to turn on rings as well. Rings add a nice effect to it. You can play with the lines. The lines will make it look like kind of a spark. Okay, and again, play with the size. You can even play with the color of it. Even the alpha, the transparency of it, which would be really neat. But I kind of like what I see there right now. That's kind of a nice effect. So there you go. We've added a light to our lighthouse. Eventually we'll make it spin. We'll add some rain, add some other motion to our scene. So hopefully that worked out well for you. Thanks for watching.